This is the STL Medical Weight Loss Radio Show with Dr. Joe. No more talking, let's go.
Welcome back to the STL Medical Weight Loss Radio Show. I'm your host, Dr. Joseph Moleski. I have my co-host and friend, Drew, in the building. How you doing, Drew?
I am good. How are you?
I'm doing well. We were just chatting before we got started here that you're down how much weight?
Well, today I got on the scale, 55 pounds down.
Wow.
Double
that's
nickels.
Incredible. I mean,
I love it.
I mean,
it's
your face looks different. You're just everything about you. You know, yesterday I was here at the radio show and, you know, I was on another member of the team, we'll say, and I just was looking at Drew. I'm like, man, every time I come up here, I'm up here every week, but every time I see him shrinking.
I look like a new person.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I've had to obviously change shirt sizes and pant sizes. I've had to get 2 new pairs of glasses.
Wow.
And I don't see the neck roll anymore either, so that's a good thing.
Got a new stylish haircut. I love it, man.
Yeah.
You're
My wife
good.
also. She's approaching 20 pounds
Wow.
since she's been on the program, which is just under 2 months.
Yeah. So the medication works. I mean, it speaks for itself.
It does.
I've had multiple clients, even 3 weeks in, losing 10 pounds. So, I mean, 3 weeks in, feeling great, no side effects. They're, able to, curb their appetite with this medication. They're able to get down their weight. They're able to really get true success. And I get commonly asked, Dr. Moleski, okay, what happens after I'm on the medicine for 3 months? I only want to lose 20 pounds. I said, great. I mean, if you lose 20 pounds, and then we can have that conversation about, all right, you lost 20 pounds, you're feeling good. Maybe take a month off, take 5 months off.
Right.
But we are here for you when you need us. And we can develop a maintenance dose plan. It's a lower dose. We can do it every other week, every 2 weeks. So once you get to that, we can help you with it. So don't think, oh, I need to lose 10 pounds, 20 pounds. I don't think I need this. Guys, some people just need that extra boost to get you down. I mean, Drew, could you have, all right, with regular diet and exercise, could you say, hey, I lost 55 pounds. In this short period of time?
Not in 4 months. I'm approaching, it's been 4.5 months working with you. There's no way I'd be down 55 pounds.
No.
Maybe 10, maybe 20. But that's what I love about this plan that you offer to your patients. There's a plan for everyone.
Correct.
And it's not just, this and that. You sit with everyone and you figure out what's working, what's not going to work, what you should change. That's why you use the education and the medication tagline, but that's not just a tagline, that's reality.
And we talk a lot about on the podcast. I bring products on the show. I provide a lot of education on the podcast, and that's what I want to get out to patients is we have the medication used as a tool. It's a medication, obviously, that can help with food cravings, jumpstart metabolism, but I want you to feel like you can tune into this podcast and you can hear results, testimonials about the medication, but the education is what I want to get into today, actually. So I have simple Dr. Joe's health tips. So what do I do? Okay,
right.
What do I do? What do I do for my family? And you guys can take these tips and share it with your family and friends, and it'll help them even if they're not on the medication. So one of the things that I recommend is a animal-based diet.
Correct.
Okay? So animal-based, I would like you guys to be consuming, chicken, beef, that are organic, grass-fed. That's what I would recommend. And, the organic foods that you can consume, I would say lots of fruits. So, we have bananas, apples, pineapples. I would stay away from grapes. Grapes, yeah.
I was going to ask if you're worried about sugars in the fruit.
Yeah, so what they're finding, and there's a doctor that I follow, Dr. Paul Saladino, and I've talked about him on previous podcasts, but I really go to him when it comes to nutritional information. He's a big proponent of the animal-based diet, and what he is providing a lot of education around patients that are on an animal-based diet, and they're like, okay, how do I get my carbs in? Because if I'm just doing animal-based, that's more like a keto, and I'm going to go into ketosis, and but I like the carbohydrate source being from fruit. So fruits, I wouldn't worry about the sugar in fruits.
Okay.
Because what they're seeing in the studies is that if you're leading an animal-based diet and you're just getting from organic-based fruits, you're not going to have that increased risk of developing like diabetes, high blood sugars, all that. The fruit is actually essential for carbohydrates. I mean, if you're on just a strictly keto diet, there's some side effects you can get with a strictly keto diet, which is you can have trouble sleeping, you can have issues with certain cholesterol, you can have all these different things. But what I can tell you is having that animal-based diet alongside carbohydrates and having raw dairy or any dairy.
Right.
We talked about in the last show how raw farms is great great product, and then introducing honey. So honey, fruits, raw dairy, animal-based diet. And the reason I recommend this is because there is a compound in a lot of our food, and it's called glyphosate, Roundup. I don't know if anybody's familiar with this, but
I have no clue.
It's coming out that glyphosate or Roundup is present in a lot of Americans. There was a study in California that they recently tested 131 patients. They found that 93% of those patients had glyphosate in their urine.
Oh my.
Yeah, and so that's alarming to me. I mean, if we're walking around with Roundup in our blood, it can't be good for you.
No.
So I started doing a little research into it. I was like, I wonder if I'm being exposed to glyphosate. I wonder if I'm running this medical weight loss practice. I want to make sure that I'm educating my patients to make sure they're not being exposed. So I did a little digging, and I found a physician called Dr. Zach Bush. His website is called intelligenceofnature.com, and I would encourage you guys to even just YouTube his name. Look at what he's done. It's pretty striking about the information out there on glyphosate. So a lot of the foods are sprayed with glyphosate that are not organic. And what glyphosate does, it was classified as like a antifungal, anti-parasite, and antibiotic at one time. And now it's a herbicide. So essentially, Roundup is sprayed on everything to make sure that the crops grow and they're keep the weeds out and all that. But the problem with glyphosate, it goes down into your cells and it actually disrupts part of the cell communication called the gap junction. So imagine your cells are glued together and can communicate with each other via this little canal called a gap junction. The glyphosate goes down, disrupts that, and makes these cells not able to communicate with themselves anymore. What this does, it can cause a whole host of problems, but that cell-to-cell communication can disrupt energy levels, different key nutrients transported from each cell, and it actually can cause the cells to become cancerous.
Wow.
Yeah.
So more harm than good.
Yeah, and so this his background is he studied endocrinology, which is, patients that have diabetes go to an endocrinologist.
Sure.
So the study of diabetes, he got into metabolism, the study of metabolism. I believe he has an engineering background as well, but he kind of talks about how pretty much we're poisoning ourselves through a stressed food chain, which is causing a stressed consumer. And so when he said that, I was like, wow, a lot of our food that we're consuming has this, I call it an antibiotic. He also calls it an antibiotic, and it's disrupting the communication between our cells, making our cells weak, lack of energy, making us feel terrible, and then essentially leading into cancer. And so diving into this, and I want to talk about this more in the next segment too, but if you guys are not eating organic and you're not eating grass-fed beef, Alder Spring, fed from the farm, you're not having, you can get grass-fed beef anywhere, but if you're not eating a certain way, you're going to be exposed to this compound glyphosate. And the scary thing too is they recently did a study in kids. Kids have a lot of processed foods, and there were 650 kids in the study, and 87% of them had glyphosate in their urine.
Wow.
So it's
a big number.
Yeah, so the kids have a lot more processed food in their diet, and so they're going to have more glyphosate. And so the fact that we're seeing 80 to 90% of the population having glyphosate in their urine, that's alarming. And so, check out Zach Bush's work. As I said, it's pretty striking to see that a lot of our food is tainted with this, and it's causing disease. It really
you can't
is.
trust it anymore.
Yeah.
You're going to question everything.
Yeah, and what's funny about it is not funny but interesting is in the 1990s, like 1996, and he describes this, glyphosate was really pushed by Monsanto, and they started spraying all these crops. Well, from 1996 to onward in the early 2000s, we started seeing the resurgence, or essentially the birth, we'll say, of chronic disease. So patients coming in with heart attacks, strokes, diabetes, cancer, some of these chronic.
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, so it's just interesting, folks, and I'm going to talk about this next segment to further educate patients. But if you guys are interested in changing your life, book an appointment at stlmedweightloss.com. We provide medication and education to change your life.